Welcome to MF Tarot, formerly Chiaroscuro, and this is going to be a pick-a-card reading today, a viewer request from Kay. It is going to be about how to not let the BS of others get to you. So we're going to explore what the BS is, and then how to not let it get to you. So if the BS doesn't resonate with you, then it's not going to be the pile for you. Just so you know, you're going to have 3 piles to choose from. This is going to be pile number 1, pile number 2, and pile number 3. There will be a photograph of the stones timestamped in the description box, as well as timestamps for the different piles. If you are a returning viewer, thank you very much for coming back. If you're new, welcome to the channel. And just a couple of things. This is a timeless reading. So if I recorded it 6 months ago, it's still applicable if you were drawn to the reading. Make sure to pick the pile that you are intuitively drawn to. You can pause the video at the photograph and take your time to figure out what you're intuitively drawn to. These are general readings, so please keep in mind I'm tapping into general energy. Some things may resonate, some things may not. You would get a more specific reading with a personal reading. So just keep in mind these are general. And please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you like the content. I'm going to move on to pile number 1. If you chose pile number 1 for your tarot quickie, this is going to be the reading for you on how to not let the BS of others get to you. So first, let's figure out what BS you might be dealing with. This can help identify if this pile is it's the right pile for you. So if this is not the BS you're dealing with, this may not be the right pile. Let's just get a couple cards and see what pile number 1 may be dealing with from other people. What BS? We'll just call it BS. Ooh. Okay. Oh my lord, this is sticking together. Okay, no more shuffling. One more. We'll do one more. All right, so you are dealing with somebody. All right. This is going to be your perspective on what you're dealing with. So I'm not saying that this person necessarily is this way, but this is how you are perceiving them. So keep that in mind when listening to this, because I'm just going to talk as it comes, but this is your perspective of the situation. I'm not necessarily saying that this is how the person is, because we're just looking at. I can tell this is your perspective. So you're dealing with somebody that you're viewing as very, very selfish. They're non-communicative. It's somebody that it's like the more that you invest in them, the more drama they seem to cause in your life. And to you, it's kind of like, if you would just communicate with me what the heck is going on, all of this drama and all this trouble could be released. But you're trying to get this person to open up, and they're not. They're just stonewall. You're viewing it as very selfish. They're not interested in communicating. You're trying to work it out. You're trying to put some effort into it to try to get rid of the drama. And you think proper clear communication will help. For some of you, you may also be considering just like recognizing, perhaps, maybe you're coming to the realization that it's time to let go of this person or certain people in your life who are unwilling to work with you in conflict. Like drama is created with these people because they won't invest in you like you will invest in them. And you're viewing them as very selfish, as very self-absorbed, selfish, maybe even narcissistic. That might be a word that's going through your head. Not saying that these people are, but this is how you're viewing these people or this person. And you try to work it out with them because you care, and it just creates more problems because they're not communicating, they're not investing, they're not willing to see your side, they're not willing to come together. So what do you do? What do you do with people, a person or people in your life who are unwilling to actually work with you? What's the advice for pile number 1? For not letting the BS of these people get to them. Ooh. All right. So you're going to have to make a decision here. There's a decision. This is almost like a cycle that you have in your life, and you have to make a decision to end it. I think that there's kind of two things going on here. You have to decide whether or not you want to be right, whether being right is really what's motivating you in resolving this, because it does seem like you want to fix the situation. You want to be the one that's right. This ABCD needs to be done. This is how it should go. This is how it's fixed. And somebody else is like, I don't want to deal with this. Or they're just non-responsive, or they're not engaging. So do you want to be right? Do you want to be the one that's on top and in control and perhaps even more ego-driven? Or are you willing to start recognizing when something isn't working and let it go? Here's the ego showing up. Here's when something's not working, and it's time to let it go. It's almost like there may be a tendency to want closure when letting go of a relationship. I think that this keeps you attached to relationships that aren't good for you. You continue to engage. So you got to decide whether or not it's worth being right. Are you, in the grand scheme of things, your ego-driven sense of being right is not really what matters. It doesn't actually bring any resolution to the situation. So if you want to be right, then keep beating that dead horse. That's what this decision is saying. If you want to be right, if you want to win and you want to succeed, keep beating that dead horse of a relationship that's not actually healthy for you to be in, and continue to be an unhealthy contributor to an unhealthy relationship. Or you could choose to recognize when something's not working, and instead of trying to fix it, you just let it go. You don't need to understand why. You don't need to have them understand your perspective, because there's something about you binding yourself to people who don't really care. And I'm not sure that it's that they don't care, but I think the way in which they care for you is not the way you want to be cared for. For some of you, with that King of Swords reversed before, I think for some of you, it is binding yourself to people who just don't care. They're just using you. They're giving you the illusion that they care, but they really don't. For others of you, I think that it's people who aren't caring for you the way that you want to be cared for. And instead of throwing, in a way, a little fit, saying, I want you to love me or care for me this way, recognize that they actually aren't capable of giving you that. And instead of beating them up about it and trying to fix and force and push something, let it go. There doesn't even need to be a talk. There doesn't need to be a sharing of feelings, because you could see before that kind of person is very resistant. So there's finding peace in not in releasing control of these types of relationships. There's a control element here, an element of wanting to be right, of wanting to be recognized, of wanting to control the situation, and it's not happening. It's not happening with this person or these people because they aren't actually right for you. And so you're trying to fit a square peg into a round hole and getting mad because it doesn't fit instead of recognizing what you're doing and just moving on to go find a round peg that fits in the round hole, if that makes sense. So you kind of have to decide here is what this is saying. Are you going to continue to let this bother you? Because you're basically getting upset and creating a whole bunch of uncomfortable feelings inside of you because you want somebody to give you something they can't. They can't, they won't, whatever, they're blocked, whatever the reason. They can't. At this time, they can't be what you want them to be. So instead of creating more conflict and engaging in that, let it go. Let them go. You know, maybe, who knows? Let's see what happens just for fun. What happens if you let them go? For you. You're sending out a clear message vibrationally to the universe, to yourself. You're finally working on owning what you want and standing up for it. You're committing to your vision of what you want. It's kind of like, I was telling a friend recently, like when you're dating men, if you settle for less, they'll never give you more because they know they can get what they want at this level. So why would you not just stand up for what you want? Don't sacrifice that at the expense of any relationship. This is what you want. I see you just really owning this and really working on creating what you want. Just put these all up. This is huge. This is like a new cycle, a new understanding. There's a new level of people that you attract who actually want to work with you, who are in it to be your friends or your lover or whatever forever and ever and ever. They're willing to engage with you at that level you want to be engaged with. So basically, if you're running into people who don't want to engage with you, let them go. Just let them go. Send them away with love and open the space to attract people who do actually want to talk to you and work with you and create something long-term with you, whether it's friendships, family, whatever. But this is about you owning your vision of what you want, staying true to it, and also not getting mad at somebody because they aren't capable of giving you what you want. You know, that's like saying, I want a red sweater, but somebody gave you a blue one instead, and you just are gonna rip apart that sweater because it's not red. But it's like, what am I doing? Why do I hate this sweater? Because I wanted a red one, but I got a blue one, but it's a really cute sweater. It's fine the way it is. It's just, I'm going to go give it to somebody else because I really just want a red one. I'm going to let it go. I'm not going to shred it up and throw a temper tantrum. I'm going to give it to, donate it to Goodwill or give it to somebody else who actually does like it. Whatever. You know, be free. Set yourself free. And hold your vision for what you do actually want. All right, that concludes the reading for pile number 1. If you like the reading, please like, share, subscribe, and comment down below. Helps me as a reader to know I'm doing a good job. And I'm going to move on to pile number 2. If you picked pile number 2, the Scorched Stone, this will be your reading for how to not let the BS of others get to me right now. So first off, we're going to see what BS you're kind of dealing with. So if this part resonates, then this will be the reading for you, but you'll know... if it doesn't, if you're not dealing with the situation, then one of the other piles may work better for you or not. But if it doesn't resonate, it's not the reading for you. So let's see what's going on. What BS, we'll say, is pile number 2 dealing with other people right now. That's too many. We'll take We'll take that one and these. Okay, got it. So you're having trouble with people who are a person or people who are emotionally manipulative. And there's a connection that you feel with them. Like there is a deep connection that is binding the two of you together. Or perhaps for some of you, you could be bound to this person from childhood. Like there's a loyalty holding you together instead of an actual relationship at this point. Take that as that resonates. But you're wanting to reveal to somebody how they've been emotionally manipulated and how they've tricked you. Or even it's you want to reveal to them the ways in which their mindsets aren't functioning right, like the way they wear masks, or the ways you want to reveal the ways that they are inauthentic. Like when you're seeing these people that you care about, and you're finding them to be inauthentic and emotionally manipulative in order to maintain the mask, the illusion of who they are. And you're kind of wanting to shed light on that because, one, you're looking to kind of rebalance the situation here to get them to stop being emotionally manipulative, but you also, like, you are seeing, like, it's not like you're making this up. You are seeing something very clearly that perhaps others don't. But there's a urge to share this information with people who aren't ready to hear it. And in a bizarre way, because you're trying to reveal to others how, I mean, this is a very Virgo thing to do. So you may be a Virgo, or there's Libra here. If you're not, it doesn't matter, but that's just the energies that are present. You may, like, you're trying to reveal the way that things are inauthentic. You're coming from a good place, but in order to do so, you may also be coming off as either emotionally manipulative or harsh or ununderstanding as well, for some of you. So the problem here is that you're sussing out people's inauthenticity, basically. People you care about, and you want to shed the light on it in order for them to grow and evolve and become a better person. Also, there's a sub-theme of you want to shed the light on it so that they are no longer trying to emotionally manipulate you into believing their masks. However, they're not ready for it. You know, you're forcing this on people who aren't ready for it, and it's creating a lot of problems. All right. Let's see what you do about this. Advice for pile number 2. Advice for pile number 2 on handling the inauthentic BS around them. This is very interesting. Bottom of the deck energy is the Four of Wands. All right. So you are starting to see things in a new way. This reading in a way is validating your passion, your new knowledge, or whatever it is you want to share to these other people to help the way you want to help them. However, you're trying to share this light with people who don't want to receive it. And you're taking that personally. Instead of refocusing that energy either on yourself or because as you focus it on yourself, as you change internally, your external circumstances will change and you'll start attracting people who actually value what you have to say. I think you're very frustrated with these fake F words, we'll say, and their lack of validation of you because you're trying to help and they're just being more and more fake and more plastic and more inauthentic and wearing more masks. And they're not appreciating what you have to offer, which you're letting it affect your self-confidence and your feelings of worth, and then you're mad at them. Which then communicated to them, you're probably telling them, hey, you're a fake person, but you're like, F off, you fake, whatever. I'm trying not to swear at these videos, but I was thinking of a litany of bad words. That kind of like feisty, now I'm pissed. And it's kind of this cycle. So you're evolving. You're growing out of these people. You're growing away. You're seeking a higher level of authentic people to be around. And instead of doing that, you've got a bunch of inauthentic people that you're with that you're trying to fix to make them be authentic so that they can come with you. But they don't want to, and you're not listening. So instead of loving them as they are and releasing them and moving on, you're trying to fix them, which pisses them off, and then they react and then lash out at you, which then hurts you because you don't know what you've done, and then you lash out, and there's this cycle that just keeps going and going and going of more and more and more BS. Because now your feelings are hurt, you feel invalidated, you think that nobody appreciates you, that you're just trying to help, instead of recognizing they don't want your help. They don't want it. A good rule for this: don't give it if they didn't ask. I struggled with this one myself. But don't give it if they didn't ask. Another part of this, though, is that, like, you're disappointed in these people. You're disappointed in recognizing that they aren't who you thought they were, or they aren't going to evolve. And that's okay. It's okay to feel disappointed in that. It's okay to process those emotions. But what's not okay is to project that onto somebody else. Because that's more about you being disappointed than them actually doing anything wrong, because they're doing the best they know how to do. Maybe this was how they were taught to live by their parents or throughout their life. Like, everyone's doing the best that they can in the current moment. And you may look at it and say, well, being fake is not good enough. But maybe that's all they know how to do. And until they want to do something different, there is nothing you can do for them. I do want to get a little bit additional advice here, because this really seems more like you've got to work on yourself here to deal. In order to deal with the BS, you're not actually dealing with the BS. You got to deal with yourself first in this particular case. Your issues with value that are being flared up. Why you've got people in your life that are fake. Why did you choose them in the first place? Maybe you've just simply outgrown them. There's no sense in beating yourself up about it, but what's wrong with outgrowing and moving on to the next level? There's feelings of disappointment. There's a little bit of a temper tantrum being thrown because you're not getting what you want. So there's aspects that you need to recognize in you before anything else can be done. Is really what I'm seeing. So perhaps maybe isolation is the key. We'll see. I'm going to pull a couple more cards for advice. All right. Anybody who's stressing you out, you need a break from. This feels very strongly to me like letting them go. That doesn't mean that they can never come back, but I think that you really need a new start. You need a break. You need to get rid of these people that you're stressing out about. One, because you aren't able to you aren't in the space to properly handle it. So you're just going to stress yourself out. You're not going to be able to see the way forward. It's just, you're not even, being around them prevents you from even identifying the cycles within you that are contributing to the situation. So by taking a leap of faith and removing yourself from them, go hang out with your pets if you've got pets, or just spend some time at home by yourself. There's really, you need away from the people who are causing you BS. You need some space, because you're too immersed in it to be able to see your contribution. And once you recognize your contribution to it and recognize these cycles within you, you become a far more balanced person who is nurturing and caring for others in a healthy way instead of contributing to a toxic way. You're not there to fix, you're there to love and nurture. You're there to appreciate people for who they are. Your relationships start coming from the heart. You start connecting to people on a more heart level. And having good relationships, good ones that are based in love and reciprocation. You're giving and exchanging. That's what water does. It flows back and forth, Perhaps the key is recognizing relationships where there's an equal exchange, but you aren't going to be able to see that until you get some space. And there's definitely some internal cycles that you've got to rectify that are continuing to get you in these situations where you're surrounding yourself with people who just dish out the BS. And then you want to fix it. So I'm surprised. You don't want to abandon anybody, and also you don't want to feel abandoned. Like, this could be most people in your life, and then you're like, well, I don't have any friends anymore. Don't worry about it. That's not going to last long. But you aren't going to have space and time to do the reflection you need to do to adjust the cycles and the issues in you, so that you can be the person you want to attract and start bringing a higher level of people into your life. I mean, we've got a page and a knight here, and then you're moving to a queen. So this is, by evolving yourself, you evolve the quality of people that are coming into your life. But you need some space. You need a break from it. If you keep staying enmeshed in it, you won't be able to see the way out. Because the way out first starts with you, and then starts with because once you do the adjustments in you start responding and behaving and treating people in a different manner, which then attracts much more healthier relationships into your life. I hope that makes sense. This concludes the reading for pile number 2. If you like the reading, please like, share, subscribe, and comment down below. It helps me know as a reader I'm doing a good job. And thank you for watching. I'm going to move on to pile number 3. If you picked pile number 3, the orange stone, orange stone, this is going to be the reading for you on how to not let the BS of others get to you. I'm going to first start off with kind of seeing what the situation is, what's the BS that's getting to you. So if this doesn't resonate with you, this situation, then this is not going to be the reading for you. But we're going to kind of see what the BS is that you're dealing with that's getting to you right now. For pile number 3. What BS from other people is getting to them? I'm sorry, I'm struggling here. My hands aren't big enough. Back on track. Maybe you're struggling with having tiny hands. Okay. Well, there we go. That works. That's plenty. All right, so pile number 3. So you are struggling with friends and family here. And there's a perspective, a mindset, a clarity, a way of seeing things that you have that you think they don't. You don't think they don't see it. They don't see what you're talking about. Whether it's your political beliefs or how you're seeing the world moving, they don't see it that way. They don't see what you're talking about. And I can see you trying to engage them in a discussion, but they are negatively responding to it. It's probably a fear response here. They're very resistant. They're very resistant to your perspective. And as a result, you think this is how you're seeing the situation. You are thinking that as a result, since they can't see your perspective, it doesn't matter what kind of people they actually are. What's mattering to you right now is that they understand what you're saying. And if they don't understand and agree, I'm seeing agree here. If they don't understand and agree, or even make an effort to try to understand and agree with your perspective, and putting agree there on purpose, then you can't go forward having a relationship with them. So basically this is if you don't agree with me on my opinions, then I don't think we can be around each other. That's the overall mentality that I'm getting here. I think perhaps you may be a little bit forceful with what you think, and I think people are responding in a way that you view as them rejecting your ideas when they're actually really just stressed out by your intense delivery. Perhaps you may be intense or aggressive or sharp with your words, and you got these people, though this is represented by the 3 of Cups, like they're perhaps a little bit more lighthearted, or maybe they're not as serious as you. Maybe they like to party and may be addicted to substances or addicted to somebody, and you're trying to tell them this is not the way forward, this is bad for you, but they're not listening. And you're like, well, then the relationship can't continue. So I'm by no means condoning here that if there is something toxic going on, we do have the devil that, that's not something that you should tolerate. I'm not saying that in this reading. But for those of you that it isn't like something actually really big, like an addiction or something somebody else is doing that's actually hurting them. I can't remember what I was going to say. I could even see this being related to the jab. Maybe you have people you care about who don't want to do it, and you think you know what's right for them, and they're just doing what they want to do, but you're like, I can't be friends with you because I'm scared about what's going to happen, and you won't take the right steps to be safe. that is also could potentially be a scenario here. But this devil is really, this is either somebody is engaging in toxic behavior. It could be you, and it could be the other people. We'll dig into this more, but there is a, how do I say this? An incorrect mindset. I know you don't think it's you. It's showing up here that you think you know the truth. Maybe you do. We'll see with the advice. But it almost feels like, in a way, you're, from these cards, that you're trying to bully people who are living their life differently than you into living their life like you live it. Instead of being respectful of other people's paths. I think you're either pressuring and bullying somebody into behaving how you think they should. And they're reacting to that. This doesn't seem like a very tolerant reading. I mean, we're going to get more, but the Queen of Swords is kind of like, hey, yeah, we can work this out, but if you mess up, I'm chopping your head off. And I think that's the mentality, like, if you don't agree with me, I'm chopping your head off and we're done. And I'm not sure that the BS that you think you're dealing with is actually something chop head offable, if that makes sense. That's kind of what I'm getting. Let's see what's advice for pile number 3 for handling this BS that they're dealing with. Now, granted, we'll see with these cards, but I was getting a sub-theme of some of you. Most of you, this is not the case, but some of you, you're concerned about how somebody is behaving. And you think it may be toxic behavior. And you're in the position, they're resistant to you offering to help, and so you're thinking it's time for you to move on. That may be the case if you're dealing with somebody who's actually an addict. But in any other situation, it seems more like you're trying to control a situation. There's a misguided mentality you have about something that you're imposing on other people, but you're saying it's the truth. And if they don't listen to you, then you're going to move on. Because you're under the illusion that they're doing something bad when they're not. And so that's why they're resisting. So for small few of you who know about somebody doing addictive stuff, you'll know that addictive message and letting that go is part of this. But if somebody's not, then you're getting the kind of judgmental path a little bit. Advice for pile number 3. Oh. Okay. We're going to just pick 2 more. All right. So part of this is coming from, for you specifically, for you, your advice, is that there's a lot of frustration you're feeling about current world events. This expands beyond your horizon. You feel very out of control. And in an effort to feel more in control, you're trying to dominate those around you to do what you want so that you feel better about the current state of affairs. What you're basically doing is you're projecting your unhappiness with the way things are going onto those you care about. And demanding that they change so that you feel better. That's what this is. I can already tell from the fact that all of these cards came out reversed that you are probably not going to agree with me. I can feel the resistance, and this is because it comes from fear. It comes from fear that things are changing and you are unable to stay in control of them or stay on top of them. Some of it is also to avoid acknowledging that you are unhappy and that your unhappiness is coming from, you think it's coming from the external environment, but you're not recognizing your own ability to make yourself happy. You're placing the onus on external things instead of owning it yourself. That your own unhappiness and your own sense of incompleteness, you're saying, well, yeah, I'm miserable. We've got whoever in office and they're just a terrible person, and these policies are horrible, and how am I supposed to live like this? I can't possibly turn a blind eye to all the injustice and all the unfair things going on. And that's why I'm unhappy. It's because of everybody else, and everybody else needs to fix it. And I'm going to try to control you so that I can gain some kind of sense of stability. I want some other advice here. Something a little bit more uplifting, because I feel like this is being kind of, I don't want the reading to be like super hard on you. I feel like it's being a little hard on you, kind of like, wake up. You're contributing to the problem with your mindset and your attitude. Knock it off. That's the message that's coming through. So I want to leave you with something that is a little bit more uplifting, some better advice. Other than you're creating this for yourself. Okay. Again, control issues here. Part of that stems from how you respond to conflict or disagreements. And I'm not talking about like somebody's punching you in the face. This could even be conflict like debate, like a friendly, competitive debate, like conflict even at a level that's actually a healthy conflict, such as like, a healthy competition or a healthy debate or something like that. Even at that level, that you find destabilizing. Any challenge to how you view something, you view as destabilizing. Completely destabilizing. Like your life, just the foundation is shattered underneath you, everything's falling apart. And some of this has to do with that, with actually an insecurity. Because when conflict happens, you feel unable to handle it for some reason. And so instead of engaging in it, not in a bad way, I mean like having a healthy discussion, having an exchange of ideas with somebody, instead of being curious what somebody else thinks and why they think that, and taking the opportunity to learn more about that person if you care about them, or more about something you didn't know about, there's a flat out resistance. Like if anything challenges you, you have zero interest in exploring that. You view that as a threat. It is a threat to you. And then instead of like viewing it as an opportunity to get to know somebody better, or to explore ideas, or even to learn about the beauty in something like this, because this is not even conflict like you're fighting. This is like if somebody says, I like raspberry snow cones, and you're like, well, I like the pina colada ones, they're definitely better. And then you guys have like a little banter about why one is better than the other. According to these cards, you will lose your mind if somebody doesn't like what you like. And instead of saying, well, why do you like the raspberry one? Oh, and then this person says, well, it reminds me of when I was a kid, there was the snow cone station and there was only one flavor, it was raspberry. And so I think about going out with like my mom and my dad and my brothers and sisters, and we would go sit by the lake and eat snow cones together. And so it's just my favorite. All of a sudden, you just learned something about somebody. You took the time to ask. You took the time to be curious instead of shutting down and saying, no, you're wrong. How dare you? I can't possibly know you because you like raspberry snow cones. If you don't like what I like, then we just can't know each other. You must be a terrible person. Without even knowing that story. You don't even give them a chance. And it could be a very stimulating and exciting conversation. Like, why do you think this? Why do you think something different than me? Instead of automatically judging that what doesn't fit in your narrative is bad and shutting down because you think you can't handle it. I would challenge you to try to have a discussion with somebody who thinks something different than you. Don't get emotional. Don't get personal, because it's not personal. This is a sword card. It's not about emotions. This is not about this learning how to communicate and be a little bit less zesty about it. So next time somebody just says something that you don't agree with, ask them in a non-judgmental and non-threatening way, why do they think that? Where is that coming from? To learn about them. Start doing that instead of automatically judging what they're saying. Because your sense of feeling like you know everything is coming from an insecurity and a need to be in control. Feeling like you know everything gives you a sense of control. It gives you the ability to have, I don't like this word, it's a little bit severe, dominion over other people. But that's just what came into my head. And that makes you feel more secure in a world that's very insecure, very, unstable right now. So this is a lot about finding your own center, regardless of what's going on, but also not viewing when somebody thinks something different as a threat, because it's not. It's not the end of the world. And so start challenging yourself. Start challenging yourself to talk to people who think something different than you, because you don't know what you're going to find. And it doesn't mean, by engaging, does not mean that you agree with them. It doesn't mean that you're encouraging that perspective. There's nothing wrong with saying, I don't really know about that. Can you tell me why you think that, or where that came from? Or, that's a point I hadn't considered. Can you tell me your sources? I want to go research that. Instead of judging everything. Because by being this resistant to differing perspectives, you're actually contributing to the instability in the world. Which is why you got people that are like, no, I'm not doing this with you. And then you're like, what happened? Why do all my friends go away? How come nobody wants to invite me to a party? Well, because you're not fun. That's why. Lighten up. Have some fun. You don't always have to be right. It's not about being right. It's about an idea exchange. Innovation happens when ideas are exchanged, so there is no need to fear it. It is not a challenge on your personal character if somebody thinks something different than you. If they like raspberry snow cones and you like pina colada snow cones, that means you can have options and different flavors in the world. And diversity, what a wonderful thing. You don't have to poo on it. That's enough. That was supposed to be quick, but that went on for a little while. If you're with me to the end, thank you, because that, I feel like, is a little bit of a harsh reading, but that's what came through. I gotta deliver the truth. So if you pick pile 3, God love you. Please comment down below, like, share, subscribe. If you enjoyed the reading, it helps me know as a reader I'm doing a good job. And this concludes the reading for pile number 3.